I think, like many, I was incredibly wrong about the wrong way to use healing magic. And I mean, an episode like this, which doesn't have anything too explosive, there isn't anything too crazy, there's a couple of slight funny moments, but if anything, this is the calmest and tamest episode. There's nothing like explosive happening, so you can't use the argument, oh, you're just hyping this show up because, oh, there was a really good animated hand-drawn snake fight last week, or here's a slapstick comedy. Like, maybe make those arguments, which I don't really see why that would be a counterpoint anyway, but people do that all the time. An episode like episode 4, just training, just preparation, getting a little inside Usada's mind and his fears about going to the Vanguard, the front lines, learning about the systems a bit more, naming his new pet grizzly bear, but most importantly, just understanding his perception of Rose as a character a lot more than we ever did in previous episodes. The calmest and I think least entertaining episode on a just pure entertainment level, right? Nothing explosive, nothing exciting. It's like when you take a preparation episode and a battle episode. Both are just as important, but one's going to be more entertaining than the other. So walking out of an episode like this, which, didn't waste any time, let the credits continue to play as more dialogue's happening, I walked into this show literally not even wanting to watch it because it seems so generic. Yet somehow this show has truly become something that has me actually wanting to see more and more isekai fantasy series make healing magic more relevant, because while this isn't the first healing anime out there, we don't get a lot of them, and I feel like most that we do get, they don't hook me in like this show has, and I was wrong, and I haven't been this happy to be wrong about an anime thinking I know what to expect in a while, but this show's a banger. I have a full live reaction episode 4 of The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic over on my Patreon, so if you like some Alphalunga thoughts, they're over there if you're interested. Now, there actually is a decent amount to talk about, it's just like, this isn't the explosive episode, right? I think the funniest moment has to be just that quick cutaway with how our boy enters in with his bear, and, because healers are just respected and Rose has kind of like said it's okay, he gets to do his training in the middle of like town square there, and while initially people are freaked out because there's a monster on this guy's back, as soon as they see the healer mage's uniform, it's like, oh, we trust them because they're the most valuable soldiers in the battlefield. The fact that when the other members are running through the town square, like, there's a reason why they would extra be okay with a monster, because probably some of the dudes who work for us probably look more monstrous than any grizzly bear that's sound asleep wanting an apple on his back, right? Like, those moments are quite funny. But in general, like, it didn't have any gimmicks. Like, there was nothing just like, oh, we're trying to make the viewer laugh, or, oh, we're trying to show you this badass action scene. Even the moments that were kind of comedic directed, they weren't overly funny, but it allowed for us to really just focus on Usado and really figure out where he's going to go, because he was thrown kind of into the deep end with no water wings right away. He opened his mouth, and in doing so, Rose took him by the throat and said, hey, listen, you're gonna train. And when everything was looking like he was kind of okay, he got thrown into a forest that almost killed him. This was his most calm episode, hands down. Like, the only thing that was calmer was walking home from school before he stepped into that isekai portal. So this was important because now with episode 5, we set up the stage that we are going on a mission, right? And this will really put him to the test in keeping people safe. But this episode did a lot for really exploring the healers and especially the Vanguard, because there's a lot of different healers in this world. It's not just a copy and paste, some are better than others. Like the guy we meet around the midway point to later on in the episode who talks about his like younger sister and everything, he's very good at healing other people, but really can't heal himself, right? So we can really start to see just in simple conversations like that how valuable a character like Usado actually is, because it's very simple to say, well, he's the main character, of course he's extra powerful, but little moments like those, when you look at someone who clearly is a talented healer, who can't even do a percentage of what he probably will be able to do in the future, is really impressive. And the simple moment where he mentions how like, oh, Rose, you finally found someone. She clearly has been looking for someone, a prodigy, who would be able to either keep up with her, if not surpass her someday. And the idea that basically with episode 3, we see that he can fight, right? Like he enhanced his muscles in order to punch that snake in the cranium there, and obviously it worked out rather well. But the point of where he's going to be put is he's on the front lines to carry soldiers back to the very back of their forces so that they can be treated by other people. It's going to be interesting because it's clearly the most dangerous place to be. Like the front lines are where people die the most, like the soldiers who are going to get killed right away, but you also like can see like certain characters, even if they're very talented with healing, if they can't not only carry a body back to safety without being winded, like they're not going to be able to do anything. So we're really starting to see why all this training and what we're doing for him as a character is important, because we can see how perfect he is for the front lines, but he does have that fear, and who wouldn't have that fear? He was a normal dude up until the isekai moment, right? And I felt like they didn't really flip a switch in him. I didn't feel like they just did something that made him say, I'm the hero, I'm gonna go do this or that. Instead, he had natural fears about, well, this is the most dangerous part of the battlefield, but at the same time, he starts to realize that he is compatible for it, and he just, he's trying to build that confidence rather naturally. And I think with the piece of dialogue they give our boy saying, like, he's never hated Rose, at first, I thought he was a bullshit liar. I was like, bro, the shit you have said over these 3 episodes is anything other than hatred. But I like the idea that it's not him hating her on a personal level, it was more of like the discomfort of the situation. But now that he's getting a little more accustomed to it, whether it's Stockholm Syndrome or not, remains to be seen. At the end of the day, he understands the value of not only the healers, but someone like Rose and why she is so hard on everyone in this area, because you need to be, because they are the most valuable. If without them, everyone goes down. And in this episode, they actually show us a bit of the demon side. And basically, they're even talking about that, like, okay, they have people that somehow make people who should die and keep them alive. Like, they're like, what are these people? We need to take care of them, right? So it's interesting, right? This was a very important episode that really gets us to understand the world a lot better. And honestly, I find it to be probably the most important episode out of the 4, hands down. We get a lot of cute moments, like we name our grizzly bear. I mean, I'm probably still gonna call him Baby Bear, because as big as that baby bear is, still Baby Bear in the eyes of Mom and Pop, who still rest in peace. That's rather sad from last week. But Blue is an interesting character, like very much like an adorable, chaotic mess. Very hungry, will eat your hands, and I love the little comedy bit between him and the girl. Basically, she just was like, it's kind of like, oh, I see animal, I need to pet animal. Oh, the animal swatted me away, but I got to feel its beans. It's still a good day. It's like, it's adorable. I love that. And I like that all 3 of the characters that were summoned, none of them feel like they're lazy, right? They're all putting in the effort. They're all trying to be the best, and they don't feel arrogant. And I think the moment when he walks through the gates to get into the city there, the fact that there was no hostility, it's refreshing, because like I said in my first video for the show, it's kind of like if Shield Hero had like a comedy twist at its start, because a lot of shows would make the healing side of stuff not really respected, but the fact that he is so respected, the fact that he just gets to go into that city and people recognize that these are very important people. There's still going to be struggles and threat and drama, but the fact that his intro, the thing that was hard, was just the training and Rose as a character, but we're really starting to see them on human levels rather than just gimmicks or tropes and stuff like that, and it's a really good episode. I mean, I was definitely wrong about my initial gut reaction for this show before walking into it and actually giving it an honest shot, but I do try to give stuff a shot, especially if there's a lot of popularity behind it, people recommending it. I gotta see what all the fuss is about, and this has definitely been one of the more pleasant surprises in the past couple of anime seasons, and there's a few of those in this particular anime season that I thought I knew what to expect, but actually blew me away. But let me know what you thought of episode 4. Definitely the most calm episode out of the batch, but I think probably the most important. So thoughts down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have VG Guy 95, Fate, Foruni, Power 9987, and Jessica Compton. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.